If the goal is to cut our emissions by 50% in the next 9 years, like no one has any perspective of what that even means, right? What's 50, like what are we now? What's 50% cut? What does that mean? How much have our emissions been cut when we shut down the entire economy for a year?
So last year, I believe carbon emissions were down 13%, I think. I think that's the number. And that's with shutting down big chunks of the economy for a very long time and making sure no one drives for a very long time. Obviously, there's a lot of pain that goes on with that. We'd have to pass a bunch of bailouts and stimulus bills. So you can imagine what that means in only 9 years of going to 50% and then whatever it is, 20 something years or 30 years to get to 100%. It's a massive endeavor that is just a complete fantasy.
Yeah, like so it's not even the cost of it, although absurd. But our standard of living, what would that even look like? What would our economy have to look like for that to happen?
It can't be done, and we shouldn't want to do it. Is really the argument. I mean, I don't want to. Why would I want to strip people of affordable energy? I mean, it's the lifeblood of the economy. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, to do what they want to do, I'd have to retrofit every building. I have to get rid of all cars. I'd have to get rid of air travel. I'd have to get rid of meat. I'd have to get rid of tons of things that people rely on every day to, simply when you go to a Walmart and buy something that's affordable, it's partly because there's affordable fuel to make it and to bring it to you. So it seems counterintuitive, or maybe the first time in human history where we have leaders saying we need to we need to have less. We need to have less wealth. We need to destroy the things we have. It doesn't make any sense.
So what's the motivation? What's the root motivation behind all this?
Well, the motivation is climate change. And obviously, I think that I'm not a climate change denier, though I deny that it is as destructive as they say. I think that all the evidence, all quantifiable evidence, show human life getting better and better. And in fact, in the last 30 to 40 years, it shows less and less harmful pollution. Carbon dioxide, well, that's going to be John Kerry said he wants to take it all out of the air. So I don't, it is this scary apocalyptic vision they have that you can't debunk because it's not happened, right? So they can scare you with it. But I've been around long enough to hear these kind of predictions for a long time. It's just not coming true. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything to make the environment cleaner. I think we have efficiencies going on all the time, and I'm all for market efficiencies, but I'm not for mandates and gigantic subsidies that change the way we live and dismantle modern living. First of all, other people aren't going to follow our lead who still aren't where we are, China, India, places like that. And for us to just hand over our economic advantages in that way is just self-destructive, I think.
Can we go one step even deeper? What motivates the people's fear? Let's say our politicians, right? Because that's maybe different than your neighbor who wants a clean environment. Like John Kerry, what's John Kerry or Biden or all these people? What's their what's what I'm looking for? Like philosophical fear. What's the root of that for them?
If I'm being cynical, which I will be, then my point, I think that they want power. I mean, when you say anything that involves carbon emissions is now under the power of government and we get to control it, then essentially you control everything. People who want to take over or control energy to the extent they do are essentially nationalizing the energy policies of the energy companies of the United States. And if you dictate exactly what they can make and can't make, same thing with cars, same thing with flying, same thing with meat. I think they want power. I think they many of them dislike the United States. They think that we are, selfish and greedy and dirty. And many of them, like John Kerry, of course, are massive, massive hypocrites and not worth really listening to in any way. John Kerry is one of the wrongest people who's ever lived on earth. And I just don't mean about this. I mean, just about across the board. He's been terrible about everything. But I think it's power, and that's usually the answer to that question, right?
Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.